Dear students, do you remember? In the previous chapter, we had studied Mahmud of Ghazni attacked on Somnath temple 17 times. Why were temples destroyed? To know the answer, first of all, you should know what was there in the temples which attracted other people to attack them. I taught you kings built temples to demonstrate their devotion to God, their power and their wealth. So whenever kings attacked one another's kingdom, they often targeted these buildings because these buildings were source of wealth and power. That's why the temples were attacked. We have so many examples in history, like in the early 9th century when the Pandya king Shri Marashri Vallabha invaded Sri Lanka and defeated King Sena I. He also removed all the valuable, like a statue of Buddha made entirely of gold in the Jewel Palace. He also took the golden images from the various monasteries. And then later on, Sinhala ruler Sena II made a special effort to find and restore the gold statue of Buddha. Similarly, in the early 11th century, when the Chola king Rajendra I built a Shiva temple in his capital, he filled it with a prized statue which he had seized from defeated rulers. There is a complete list of the prized statues he had seized. Among them, some are a sun pedestal he had taken from Chalukyas, a Ganesha statue and several statues of Durga, a Nandi statue from the eastern Chalukyas, an image of Bhairava, that is in a form of Shiva, and Bhairavi from the Kalingas of Orissa, and a Kali statue from the Palas of Bengal. Likewise, during his campaign in the subcontinent, Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni attacked the temples of defeated kings and looted their wealth and idols. About that I had told you in the beginning of the video. Sultan Mahmud was not a very important ruler at that time, but by destroying temples, especially the one at Somnath, he tried to win credit as a hero of Islam. Dear students, the next topic is gardens, tombs and forts. Under the Mughals, architecture became more complex. Babur, Humayun, Akbar, Jahangir and especially Shah Jahan were personally interested in literature, art and architecture. Babur described his interest in planning and laying out formal gardens placed within the rectangular walled enclosures and divided into 4 quarters by artificial channels. These gardens were known as Chahar Bagh, means 4 gardens. Some of the most beautiful Char Baghs were constructed by Jahangir and Shah Jahan in Kashmir, Agra and Delhi. Akbar's architect turned to the tombs of his early Central Asian ancestor, Timur. The central towering dome and the tall gateway, Pishtak, became important aspects of Mughal architecture. This kind of architecture is quite visible in Humayun tomb. The tomb was placed in the center of a huge formal Chahar Bagh and built in the tradition known as 8 paradises or Hashtbisht. It's a central hall surrounded by 8 rooms. It was during Shah Jahan's reign that the different elements of Mughal architecture were fused together in a grand harmonious synthesis. His reign witnessed a huge amount of construction activity, especially in Agra and Delhi. He also constructed 2 ceremonial halls for public and private audience, known as Diwan-e Khas and Diwan-e Aam. These halls were carefully planned and placed within a large courtyard, and these courts were also described as Chehel Sutun or 40-pillared halls. Shah Jahan's audience halls were specially constructed to resemble a mosque. The pedestal on which his throne was placed was frequently described as a Qibla. You know what is Qibla? It is the direction faced by Muslims at prayer. Since everybody faced the direction when court was in session, the idea of the king as a representative of God on earth was suggested by these architectural features. Behind the emperor's throne were a series of Pitra Dura. You know what is Pitra Dura? Pitra Dura means a series of colored stone placed in depression, carved into marble or sandstone, creating beautiful ornate pattern. So this series of Pitra Dura inlaid that depicted the legendary Greek god Orpheus playing the lute. Shah Jahan's capital was at Agra. Agra, a city where the nobility had constructed their homes on the banks of river Yamuna. Shah Jahan adapted the riverfront garden in the layout of the Taj Mahal, the grandest architectural accomplishment of his reign. Here the white marble mausoleum was placed on a terrace by the edge of the river and garden was to its south. Shah Jahan developed this architectural form as a means to control the access that nobles had to the river in the new city of Shah Jahanabad that he constructed in Delhi. Mughal rulers were particularly skilled in adapting regional architectural styles in the construction of their own buildings. The Mughals liked the Bangla Dome so much that they used it in their architecture. The impact of other regions were also evident. In Akbar's capital at Fatehpur Sikri, many of the buildings show the influence of the architectural style of Gujarat and Malwa. So now the chapter is over. Hope you must have understood a lot of things about Mughal architecture.